Hi, my name is Drake Hunt, and I'm one of the co-founders of EmpowRD, and today, I'm going to be telling y'all a story. This is not just any story, okay? This is the story of me. It's the story of my life, my journey, with all the good and all of the bad, all the success and all the triumph. And from this story, I hope that you can glean some hope, you can glean some inspiration, and most of all, that you can learn something from a 19-year-old kid who is still trying to learn just as much as you every single day. And with that nice little intro, I'm gonna begin. I was born in Atlanta on May 15, 2002. I was born to a mother and a father. My father was a Grammy winner. This man is an award-winning creative genius. He's written album after song for chart-topping artists. And then my mother, her head is full of ideas, her head is full of hope, and her head is always since that day been driven towards making me successful, who also, by the way, sang backup for Whitney Houston. So that's the environment that I was brought into, a family of music, a family of creativity, and that was the world. And we happened to be, at the time, because of my father, very wealthy. We were very wealthy. We lived in one of the best areas of Atlanta. And that continued on. I don't remember these times. And that continued on until I was about 4 years old. And when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my family split. My mother and father split. And once that happened, the Great Recession came. When the Great Recession came, many of y'all will definitely remember that. You'll remember the air being sucked out of the economy, the air being sucked out of your family, the air being sucked out of your finances, out of your health, out of your happiness. That's what happened to us. My father was gone, and it was just me and my mother. My father was, of course, in my life, trying to be calling and visiting and whatnot, but it was me and my mother in the home. And my mother was unemployed, so times were rough. You could feel the desperation. You could feel the lost hope. You could feel the angst. You could feel the happiness be sucked out. Things were tight. You didn't know if you're going to be able to feed your kid. You didn't know if she was going to be able to feed. You didn't know if you were going to keep the lights on. You didn't know what was going to happen the next day. You didn't know what was going to happen a week from now. You were just trying to get through the day. You were trying to survive. But surviving was getting harder and harder every single day. And that's what I felt. I couldn't put my name on it. I didn't have a word for it. I'm only 5, 6, eventually 7 years old. But this is what I'm thinking at the time. We have a fire in our house and we have to eventually move. We bounced around the homes for about a couple of years, stayed with family and stayed with a boyfriend. And then finally we could return. But then the home got foreclosed. And around all this time, I'm in school. And at home, I couldn't really trust it. I was starting to resent my mother for having to struggle so much. So I was in school acting a damn fool. Teachers would kick me out of class. I'm throwing paper all around and yelling Kobe. I'm squeezing out farts so I can make people laugh. I am a menace to society. That is me when I was a little kid in elementary school, just trying to figure things out for myself. Things felt insecure, so I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I just put it out on everybody else. I was bored, most of all, because it felt like home was failing me, and then school was failing me. I had nothing to do, nothing to put this albatross up here in my mind. And that feeling largely continued on, even when things at home became more stable. Things got a little bit easier around the time I was 9 or 10. We moved to Old Fourth Ward. It was a neighborhood that was starting to gentrify. At the time, I would call it about a half hood. You know, things were rough. You had crackheads, you had random stuff popping off down the block, but you also had some white people starting to move in with a little bit more money to spend. You're raised in the footsteps of MLK. Literally blocks from me was the birthplace of MLK. And literally also blocks from me was the death of MLK, where he is laid down to rest at his grave, Ebenezer Baptist Church, where he preached. And I'm raised in the shadow of all of this, all here in Old Fourth Ward. So I go to middle school, still lost, still didn't feel stable, still didn't trust anything, still didn't trust anybody. I was a loner. So what I would do around the time I became 11 or 12 is I internalized the angst that I was feeling. I used to externalize it, right? Just put it on everybody else, but then I internalized that angst. What I started doing is I started listening to all these incredible music, and that became my happy place. And dreams, that became my happy place. So I took all that angst and all this anger that I felt towards the world for putting me in a position where we had to struggle. You start to hate yourself, you start to hate the world. I hated everything. I just was mad for the world. I felt my life could be so much better, but it wasn't. So I just put it into dreams. I said, one day it will be better. I started dreaming of becoming a president. I started saying, hey, I can create change. People don't have to live like I've had to live at points like people are still living around me, like my mother, like my father, like my aunties, like my cousins. People don't have to live this way. Neighbors, they don't have to live this way. I started thinking about the way the world was operated, the haves and the have-nots, and I said, hey, I can change this. I can do this. Because one day, I'm in 7th grade, and my grandmother comes to me and says, this is all while I'm still dreaming. I'm with my headphones on, listening to music, dreaming and dreaming. My grandmother comes to me and says, hey, I think you should apply to A Better Chance. And what's A Better Chance? A Better Chance is an organization that takes minority kids and brings them towards prep schools. Like the elite of the elite, people who run shit. And she said, this is where you can go. We're gonna take you. This organization is A Better Chance, gonna give you a better chance. Why don't you take this opportunity? And in 8th grade, I got my acceptance letter, a full ride to a school called Northfield Mount Hermon. And I left Atlanta, I left everything I knew. But the angst remained. When you grow up with things are insecure, when a parent is struggling, you grow up in anxiety. And that becomes internalized. So my coping mechanism, as I said, was dreams. My coping mechanism was hope. My coping mechanism was thinking about how things could get better. And despite the things were actually starting to get better, that I had this amazing opportunity at this incredible school, and I'm starting class, and I'm meeting new people of all cultures and all wealths and all backgrounds, it didn't matter because the anxiety was still there. When I'm 15 years old, I had the biggest panic attack I'd ever had in my life to this day. And it lasted about 2 hours. And after that, every day was a blur. For 3 months, suicidal thoughts crept in. I was at rock bottom. I went all this way from my home, and yet here I was wanting to die. But the mindset had to change. So I went to therapy. And they said, accept yourself. Accept that this is your reality. Accept that this is what you must go through. Because once you accept it, you can learn how to fight it. I accepted that I have anxiety. I accepted that this has been my life for 15 years, but that I can keep moving and that I can keep learning and that one day I will learn to grow. And that's exactly what happened. Sophomore year ends, I'm now 16 years old. I go to India. I see the worst poverty imaginable, but the anxiety is slowly starting to creep away because I'm now feeling the power of what it's like to give. I'm feeling the power of what it's like to fight for someone else, to help someone else. So I work at an orphanage in India, and I teach these kids math and English. We offer food to those kids in the slums, kids with engorged bellies, and the parents of these kids stealing food from them. But I learn what it's like to help fight for them. I go back to the States. I joined the Sunrise Movement once I turned 17, a youth climate organization that's fighting for a Green New Deal and to help eradicate the climate crisis. And all of a sudden, I start to like myself just a little bit. I start to really like myself just a little bit. I start to appreciate the things that I can do, the gifts that I have. And that became my passion, change. It became my passion, creating. That's what I love to do. That's why I'm here making this video, to help blaze a path for someone else. Because I'm still on my path. I still have a long way to go. I still haven't all the way figured out how to deal with my anxiety. I still haven't all the way figured out how to love myself all of the time. I'm still trying to establish consistent habits. But I do know that this video will help someone. And that means the world to me because I know this is what I'm best at. And now I'm 19 years old. I've graduated that school, and I'm now attending New York University, majoring in politics. And hopefully, I'm on the way to even brighter and better things. Again, just like I dreamed when I was 12 years old, even the White House. We'll see. But what I do know is along the way, I hope to help blaze a trail towards unity, towards opportunity, towards freedom for as many people as possible along the way. That's been my life. Hope you learned something. Hope you can grow from that. I hope you can offer tips and advice so that I can keep on growing myself. And with that, it's been a wonderful time. And thank you so much for watching to the rest of this video. And like this video, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel because we are helping to try to spread love and positivity all across this globe. And it means the world if you can join along that journey. And with that, I'm out. Peace.